She worked for a bit. She works part-time. She does all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. One day, she walked into the room while I was taking a nap in between shifts, and she grabs my foot, shakes it, wakes me up. I open my eyes, and she says, I don't love you no more. I want a divorce.
That's reality.
Flat like that. Right before they go to work. She don't even wait for a weekend for him to absorb it. Got to go into work. Like, this want a divorce. So they get into a divorce. He has to move into the basement of his own house. This is his dream house, right? He has to move into the basement. 3 or 4 months later, keep in mind he has to pay child support and he has to pay alimony. 3 or 4 months later, because it was an uncontested divorce. I don't know if you know the difference between a divorce that's contested and a divorce that isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was uncontested. So he pretty much was like, yo, if I play nice and try to figure out, let's go to relationship therapy or maybe she'll come back to me. But she clearly made up her mind before, dog. She didn't decide she wanted a divorce when she woke you up, my nigga. She knew months before. Mm-hmm. Like, she lined this shit up. You didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. So now you living in your basement still thinking that somehow you're going to make it back upstairs. Another nigga moves into the crib upstairs. Your daughter's still living on the second floor. Your son living on the top floor. His head fucked up because he don't understand what's going on. Who's this nigga walking around the crib in daddy's robe and shit while daddy's in the basement? Shit is wild. So now the nigga's like, now I'm at a point in my life where I have to manage my life to a point. I eventually moved out. My mom moved out with me. Like, I'm renting out the top floor, but the money, all the money that that apartment is making is just maintaining on top of me paying her child support, on top of me paying her alimony. I got another place with me and my mom. I'm living with my mother again, and I can't buy a new car, and I can't live any better because every time I do anything incrementally better, she goes back to court and tries to bring me back for child support.
Mm-hmm. Get an adjustment.
So, all of that being said, none of that happened to me. That's not my trauma. I just like to learn lessons from other people rather than myself.
So what about the lesson of the guy who was committed to his wife the whole time and she was committed to him and they were
and they lived happily ever after? Yeah. I don't watch a lot of Disney movies, my nigga. So
I know real
even in that story though, I think there's so many. That's weird that's what you took because we don't know what happened in their marriage.
Yeah, we don't know what happened in their marriage.
So without all that context, how do you?
I only know his side of the story.
Okay. So what about all them hoes he was fucking?
What hoes he was fucking?
Exactly. You don't know.
So in that story, instead of, because one of the things you do is you always assume that the man is at fault and that the woman is somehow a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
I understand.
Victim, no.
Is it not just as likely that this man actually, because he was super religious, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. I'm saying he was super religious. Isn't it not just as likely? Not T.D. Jakes religious. Isn't it just as likely, because this happens often, he was working so hard to give her everything that he wasn't there to give her attention because, like, you know, some bitches want their cake and want to eat it. I need you to make enough money for everything. Dog, I mean, you have but so much bandwidth as a human being. You have 100% you start with every morning, and then it gets whittled away at. So by the time you get into the crib, my nigga, it's all you can do to function.
If he was working so hard that he couldn't fuck his wife, is that...
No one said anything about fucking. So it's cool for you to go fuck her?
Attention. No, I don't want nothing to do with his wife. I'm saying you said he wasn't giving her enough attention because he worked so hard.
It's not just fucking, but I'm just saying
that's part of the attention, though, right?
No, that's part of it.
So
it's not just sex.
Is that a necessity in a relationship?
Attention is a necessity.
So if she came to him one day and said, "You're working so hard, I can't get no dick," and maybe you could take a that's what she said.
You didn't emphasize it. That was rough.
But
that was kind of
that was a rough lesson.
My fault. But if she told him that and said, "Man, maybe take a weekend off," and he's like, "No, I gotta the American dream."
So now, hold on.
Now she got old boy upstairs.
That sounds nice. That sounds nice, but often what happens in that, did you know that if you have an affair, it actually keeps you in a bad relationship longer? Because usually what happens is if you're in a bad relationship, that 30%, don't point at me, nigga.
No.
That 30%.
He talking?
He's making a little
that 30%,
I'm listening.
that 30%,
somebody gotta say
thank you. That 30% that you were missing in your old relationship, you're getting from the other person. So now you have 100% in both people. So it makes you stay in a bad relationship longer versus staying in a bad relationship, missing that 30%, and eventually just leaving.
So she didn't cheat. She just walked up and said, I'm leaving.
She doesn't need to require the nigga that she's living with now all that she required of her husband, because the husband's still providing to a certain degree, and she could just get all the attention from the other nigga. She got the other 30%.
Because she wasn't getting it from him.
So now,
Part
what
of
I'm saying
service.
is, so now, as a woman,
And she did it without
realistically,
cheating. But go ahead.
realistically, I do believe there's different forms of cheating, because you could cheat backwards, but that's a whole other thing.
I don't
If
even know
you
what that
leave
means,
a
but that sounds gay, so pause.
If you leave, huh?
I said, I don't even know what that means, but that
No,
sounds
I'm
gay,
saying
so pause.
if you leave a relationship with the express intention of going to fuck somebody, I still consider that cheating.
No, that's you leaving the relationship so you don't cheat.
I still consider it cheating.
Huh?
If you're leaving the relationship,
That's what
to
you're
go-
supposed to do so you don't cheat. Leave the relationship. Let me be honest.
If
I
you
don't wanna
leave
cheat on
the
you, so I'm gonna
relationship
leave.
to expressly to go fuck somebody, right?
That's breaking up so I could move on.
No, that's not moving on. That's fucking somebody, because oftentimes when you're done fucking the person, you might spin the block. So you didn't cheat on a technicality.
So, I think the problem a lot of times with humans in general is that we all have our own expectations and our own dreams, and we build those and put those onto somebody else, right? So him building his house, having the dream house, the American dream,
Will
the
Smith.
cars, all type of stuff like that. He has that stuff, and he built that up. But maybe that's just the stuff that he wanted, she didn't really want, right?
She wanted that stuff, but she
But-
wanted attention too. She wanted everything, which is impossible.
Which is fine,
Because
right?
she could have went up and just got a job. I want you home more, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a job so you can take more time off so we can spend time together.
But
That would be reasonable.
But it's fine. It's a communication issue, right?
So I have to tell you to get a job,
But-
bitch?
She might have came to him and said her own thing. And he said, "No, I don't want you to work. I want to keep you. I want to work. Stay at home."
So you're working hard to create hypotheticals to make it not her fault.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all because you didn't even let me finish.
No, I'm talking about him. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But please go ahead. My bad.
But it's a communication thing where it's like, even if she did want that at a certain point and she did it, that's when you open up communication, be like, yo, I don't really want all this stuff. Like, I'd rather you here. Like, let's figure that out.
yeah.
Right? And that's communication. That's communication. He says, I'm doing all of this because to make you happy, but you're not happy. I think there's that communication that a lot of times couples often are afraid to have and lack. And that's when the misalignment happens.
Of course, like your relationship is built on uncomfortable conversations. But like, some people aren't capable of having those conversations, which like I'm very comfortable with uncomfortable conversations, to be honest. That being said, listen, man, like, I mean, some niggas get traumatized, but like, some niggas get stronger. So, it's not just women, because I think people automatically look at it like Reg hates women, right? I'm speaking from a point of view of, I'm harsh for everyone. I call niggas broke and insult niggas on a regular basis. I'm harsh with everybody. You just think it's like bad when it
Except
comes to
the
women.
65-year-old white man.
What's 64-year-old white man?
Continue your point.
Oh, anyways, like I just think when you're used to a certain amount of privilege, like this is a quote somebody said, equality feels like oppression. I think women for a long time aren't really held to certain standards in regards to accountability. So when you hold them accountable, now it's like, oh, you're being mean or you're being whatever. It's like, no, you can't be more equal than me. If you're holding me to these standards in regards to respect, in regards to decorum, regards to dignity or whatever the fuck, I should be able to hold you to these same standards, right? So if I were to leave you after, like, a man was to take a woman for granted and like have you working and busting your ass or whatever, I would be a bum. I'd be all types of shit. That same man could be home mopping the floors, cleaning, working, and all that, but like, society views you different, and that's just part of the game. We can't do anything about that. I don't hate women. I hate the circumstances of existence as a man that, like, we don't really get to talk about or complain about or whatever, because we're supposed to just absorb shit. People are like, oh, nah, men need to be able to express themselves until it becomes inconvenient to you. You want me to express myself until whatever I say in terms of my expression makes you uncomfortable. Then it's like, oh, nah, shut the fuck up and just deal with it.
Who hurt you?
Nobody. It's just reason. Am I bugging?
So here's why I'll say.
Okay, everybody in here has been in a relationship. How many times did you end up apologizing for some shit she did to you?
You don't have to be in a relationship for that to happen.
All right, man. I don't know why you're apologizing to a girl you're not in a relationship with. That's kind of not behavior. It is.
But
It's not. I never
I'm not
mentioned
apologizing to a girl I'm not in a relationship with. Like, what are we talking about?
which is why people say you hate women.
Why? Why am
You
I
have
in
to
a
be in a
position
relationship
to
with somebody to apologize to?
Nah.
I can be wrong. I can be late. I can be rude. Like things. Can
Oh
happen
yeah,
without me
if
being-
you're wrong, I'm just saying in terms of like dating or I did something and you're complaining about it or whatever, and like I'm talking about like if you're apologizing because you were wrong, that's one thing. If you're apologizing because she did something and now she feels a way about you feeling a way, that happens in relationships all the time. And you'd rather just not argue with her, so you just want to apologize so you could get a peace of mind. Like I mean, niggas deal with that.
And that's like Kai Cenat.
No, I'm saying you were apologizing to women when you were wrong, even though you're not, and you're not in a relationship with them.
Yeah, you need therapy.
Just a little bit.
How?
Maybe a
A little
touch.
bit.
Derek, am I bugging? Yeah. Okay. If Derek says I'm bugging now, I guess I'm
A
bugging.
little bit of therapy.
Possible.
His word has a little bit more gravity than the rest of you.
Because he uses them so
Yeah,
So
frequent.
sparingly.
So sparingly.
Yeah. That's how you
Because
know.
Derek won't even tell you how you bugging. He'll just be like, yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't do it.
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but I mean, that sucks for him.
Thanks for watching. For more content, please check out these videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And all of the good stuff is actually on our Patreon. Go subscribe.